Hello one and all, welcome to Seeing Through Glass. I hope you're not tired of all the Jaguar content lately, because I've got another Jaguar video for you today, but not with the F-Type R, because you find me in the new F-Pace SVR. Now, unlike the new F-Type, from the outside, it's pretty hard to tell that this is the new F-Pace. They really haven't done much to the exterior. Only sort of real Jaguar geeks and nerds like me can pick up on the subtle differences. However, I want to cut straight to the chase and get to the major change with this car, the revolutionary change with this car, which is this, the interior, because I think Jaguar have done such an amazing job at sort of updating and transforming this interior. It's taken what was already a great car at 65 odd grand, a car that was punching above its weight dynamically, to a car that at now 75, 80 odd grand is punching above its weight in terms of luxury, premium technology in every sort of area. I see this now as more of a sort of cheaper, I'm going to say it, Bentley Bentayga rather than an SQ5 rival. I don't know, it's weird because it's such good value for money that I can't work out what its competitors are. But sitting here now, and I literally picked this car up an hour ago, like, it's just so nice. Obviously dominated by this rather large kind of stick out screen that's not removable. It looks like an iPad that's kind of been super glued onto the dash, but I actually think it kind of fits in with the overall sort of aesthetic so well. If I turn on the ignition, you'll see it come to life, and just the look and feel, oh, just everything. We do still have sort of buttons and dials. It's not all completely touchscreen. Of course, we know so many manufacturers now going fully touchscreen, and there are a lot of sort of touch elements in here, but you do still have, as I say, these kind of physical things, including the kind of gear lever here. Obviously, fully automatic car. We've got the 8-speed ZF gearbox once again, but just that gear shifter is so nice with the SVR kind of stamped in, and then this lovely pattern on the kind of leather. I'm assuming it feels like leather. I'm assuming it's leather. There's a lot of things which I'm assuming are certain materials. I don't know if they are or not. For example, these kind of dials here for the temperature gauges, they're kind of sort of chiseled or knurled, a bit like the ones you find in the Bentayga. I don't think these are metallic. I think they're plastic, but they still look great and they feel really nice. It's all just very neat. It's very smart. Even the wireless charging area for your phone is just beautifully sort of detailed, and it's just, I just really enjoy sitting here. When I got into the old F-Pace, as good as the cars were, I was also a bit like, well, the interior is not quite on a level of an Audi, a BMW, a Mercedes, but now I think this punches well above those, and as I say, positions this car as a half-price super SUV against, yes, I'm going to say it again, a Bentayga, a G-Wagon, an Audi RS Q8. It's up there. But it's so much more. Even these seats are so nice. Anyway, I'm spending 24 hours with this car. As I say, I literally just picked it up an hour ago, and it's a busy 24 hours. I've got to go from here to actually a sort of an event or a meeting with Jaguar Racing, the Formula E team. This evening I'm out to dinner. Tomorrow I'm actually out to the countryside for breakfast. I've got Twiggy with me. She's going to need some walks. It's going to be go, go, go. But I think that is the perfect way to test this car, because it is still an SUV, and whilst it's a very sporty SUV with now this very luxury and premium interior, it has to be able to do many, many things, and we're going to make sure it can still do that, and if, as I think, it's going to do it all better than it ever did before, and therefore be the kind of ultimate affordable super SUV. But let's not forget, it does have that 5-litre V8, so let's put that exhaust on, start up, and hit the road. Welcome to Cliveden House, built way back in 1666 by a duke for his mistress. Not a bad gig if you can get it. I'd happily be someone's mistress if they built a house like this for me. Anyway, it's where Jaguar Racing are today hosting an event which I'm attending. Super interesting time for Jaguar. Obviously they've now announced that I think by 2025 they're going to be a fully electric brand, but they clearly want their combustion engine cars to go out with a roar, because they're still making things like the F-Pace SVR with hunking great 5-litre V8s. But of course they're looking towards the future, and Formula E is a big part of their kind of EV marketing and development, and this year, the Jaguar Racing Formula E team are super competitive. I think they're second in the Constructors' Championship, and both their drivers are in the top 5 of the Drivers' Championship. So I wanted to come down here today to kind of catch up with them. I actually did some work with Jaguar Racing not that long ago, but also as a Jaguar fan, things like this kind of give me an insight into what the brand might become over the next few years. So yeah, I'm going to head inside in 2 seconds, but before I do that, I just want to quickly ask you, what do we think about the F-Pace SVR in a setting as fancy as this? I've spoken about the fact that, you know, it now feels like it's kind of punching above its weight in terms of price point, but when you come somewhere like this and there are Bentegas and Range Rovers and things like that dotted around, the F-Pace does start to blend in, and especially because they haven't done too much work to the outside, it's hard to tell, firstly, that it's an SVR, secondly, that it's not, you know, a 5-year-old F-Pace that's now 35 grand. So yeah, if you want something that really has impact and stands out, I'm not sure the F-Pace is for you, but I'm still loving the fact that it does so much for so little, relatively. Let's head inside.
If you guys love hard, competitive, exciting, unpredictable racing, yes, the technology is quite unique, but it's new. Give it a chance. Formula E will convert you.
I think one thing that people could do, if they were real racing fans, watch the Monaco F1 race from the weekend, and then watch the Formula E race, and you make up your mind which one was more exciting and a better watch for a period of time.
It's a very, very good point, and I will leave it there on that one. Thank you so much, guys. Good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully see you in London.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you
Keep that Project 8 on the road. Well, that was a super nice event, mainly because there was cake. I just love cake. But no, actually, it was just great to catch up with the guys. Very interesting point that Sam Bird made there. You know, I know lots of you really aren't into Formula E, you don't like Formula E, and I get it. I admit, even I dip in and out of it. I don't follow it avidly. But if you do watch Monaco F1 versus Monaco Formula E, it's just obvious which one's more exciting. And that's the thing, Formula E has its moments and it can have great racing. And also, interestingly, as I mentioned before I headed in, because Jaguar Racing build and develop their own cars, all of that EV technology is trickling down into road cars. They were able to update something on the I-Pace to sort of make its range extended, because I think they learn racing the Jaguar Racing Formula E cars. So yeah, anyway, it's not an ad, so I'm not going to sell this too hard, but I just am, I get it. Anyway, back in the F-Pace SVR, which is very nice, and I've got to head now to the studio to do a few bits before later taking this thing out for dinner. So onwards. With the F-Pace SVR, and this car behaved very well last night in and around London. Heading to the studio, going out for dinner, just did everything I kind of wanted it to do. It's got loads of really nice kit on it, heads-up display, 360 surround parking cameras, lane assist, radar-guided cruise control for the motorway sections, everything you would expect of a car in this class. But this is the F-Pace SVR, and so therefore we have to talk about its dynamic abilities. Now, because this is more of a sort of facelift than an entirely new F-Pace SVR, the performance figures are pretty much exactly the same as the old version. We've got a 5-litre supercharged V8 putting out 540 odd horsepower, around 10 or 15 pound-foot of torque, more than the old car, but most noticeably the torque converter from the Project 8, meaning we've got that super sharp, snappy and punchy gearbox, which I have to say doesn't always feel that necessary in an SUV, but it is nice once you get into dynamic mode and start pushing on. It means that the 0 to 60 time has gone down to sub 4 seconds, which again is pretty ludicrous in an SUV, but I don't know, I do really like it. I've said before that I'm not always a huge fan of very fast SUVs. What is sort of the point? But the point is that when you do stumble across a good road, or you need to pull quite a punchy overtaking maneuver, oh my God, you can do it without even thinking about it. Oh, it's kind of terrifying going so fast in such a big car. I mean, I say such a big car. In my mind, the F-Pace has always been a really good size, especially for UK roads. In here, it's super spacious. We had 3 people in here last night. It feels very, very comfortable. You can fit loads of stuff in the back. But it does kind of shrink around you when you're on the driver's seat. Whenever I get out, I'm like, oh, it's kind of nice and compact. It's not oversized. And when you start hurtling down the road, especially when you find some corners, you don't think, oh my God, how am I going to turn this ship into this corner? So yeah, I've always been a fan of that, but fundamentally, the biggest thing to be a fan of with this car is the engine and the soundtrack. And Jag are doing such a good job at the moment of ensuring their cars still have a bit of that sort of personality, a bit of that character, and a bit of that sound of the V8. Okay, fine, it's not what it used to be, but considering what filters every manufacturer has to put in the exhaust here in Europe, it's just somehow still shouty. And I said it yesterday, they're clearly wanting their combustion engine cars to go out with a roar, Jag, and this thing certainly does roar. But as I said, when I went up to Scotland and the Peak District with the F-Type, roads are busy at the minute, so finding a chance to get this thing shouting isn't always that easy, but boy, when you do, it's so antisocial. It's brilliant.
Don't wanna play games up with the moves, don't wanna meditate, girl, with you it's hard. Fill in the blanks, text me back, throw me a kiss instead of them tricks. Don't make it hard.
Well, 5 minutes away from my meeting now, after which I'll be handing this car back to Jaguar. So how do I sum up my 24 hours with it? I mean, I really don't have anything bad to say about it. Okay, one thing which I don't think you can say is a negative, because you've got to know it's coming if you were to ever buy a 5-litre supercharged V8 SUV, but fuel economy is not good. I have not been able to get it out of the teens during the 24-hour loan. So I've done 165 miles and yeah, 19 mpg, which isn't great. But as I say, like, you got to know that's coming, right, if you were to ever buy one. And if this is a sort of a send-off, a last hurrah to the big hunking great 5-litre from Jag, who cares about how many times you're going to be at the petrol station? And it looks good. When you get there, when you're refueling, you're going to be able to admire the very good looking car. And I know I got a bit overexcited and I said, oh, you know, it's like a Bentayga in here. I think what I was trying to say is it's elevated itself from the likes of Audi, Mercedes and BMW close to the Bentaygas of this world, but it sits somewhere in between. It's not on that playing field, but it also costs half the price, I would say. So it's just, it's really all about the interior, because it was already a good car, always a really good car. It's now great, and it now is, I think, the choice of the bunch in this kind of sector. I don't know size-wise, but X3M, X5M, SQ5, GLC 63, I kind of lose track if I'm honest, but this would be the route I'd go, but I would have this as my kind of more comfortable, usable daily, like I do my X3 M40i, and that kind of fuel economy for me doesn't make sense. If this was my only car, and I was the kind of frustrated petrolhead in the family, and I had kids and daughter, like, great. But yeah, a little bit too brutal for me, considering I've got other cars that do far worse figures than that. But yeah, so good, so happy that Jag have done this kind of upgrade to this car, and I hope more people now consider it. But I do think the F-Pace has always been popular, and hey, and if fuel economy scares you, the rest of the range still gets all of this kit. I mean, some of it's optional extras, but this interior design is for all the new F-Paces, which is amazing. So yeah, I hope you found this video. I've really enjoyed spending time with this car. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure you stay subscribed for plenty more videos to come.